back to
Will and Dibby
on 95.7 The Game.
Running with the Chargers. That's right. That's what the 49ers are going to be doing Sunday night. We already told you about the Red and Gold pregame show. Kruger and Lone Neal out next to Levi Stadium starting at 11 a.m. at the Hilton Santa Clara, but we're already getting ready for this thing. Feels like it's been 100 years since there's been a 49er football game. So keep on talking about it, getting you ready for the Warrior game tonight as well against Cleveland, and welcome in the third leg of our football hour. You had Brian Baldinger, you had Rich Ornberger. Here comes Sean Salisbury to chat it out as well. Hey, Sean, what's cooking today?
I'm doing good, guys. Good to be on with you. Thank you. It does. I feel like the 49ers played like September 4th. Okay?
Seriously, man.
Since.
Yeah.
Crazy. I can't wait. This ought to be a fun one.
No doubt. And I think it's sort of a springboard to what the second half of this season is going to be. And I know what we all expect it to be. We'll see if they can actualize it. Let's focus on the quarterback position on both sides in this game. And in your opinion, Sean, with everything that you know about this organization and Jimmy and the state of the NFC, what's on the line for him in these next 9 games?
Oh, well, if he's there, guys, I'm sitting here I've gone over this 1,000 times in my mind, just kind of like we did last year. But, he was banged up a little bit. If he is able to go through this, and with the landscape of the NFC, which is, I don't want to say weak, but because the Vikings are playing better, but we're not sure who they are. They beat like 4 backup quarterbacks, but they're 7-1. The Cowboys, I don't need to go through all that. I think the NFC is winnable. But for Jimmy himself, he's just wants to win a ring and prove that he can get over the January, February miss an open guy throw. So people say, because they always say, he's not elite, but he's good. Because every time I hear 49er fans, not all of them, not a blanket statement, but a lot of them that don't, the Jimmy naysayers is, yeah, but he's hit his ceiling. They get there in spite of Jimmy. Well, he's going to have to make a bunch of plays going down the stretch, as all quarterbacks do, to get him where they want to go. So it's a chance for him to prove to the world that he's a clutch performer in those moments, and he has been at times, but not in the biggest ones that people want at the biggest stage at the right time. So I think that he's building a resume too. He's building a resume, whether it's here and they put pressure on, say, you guy went to the Super Bowl, they won the NFC West, and he had a good season. Are you still going to replace him? There's that conversation that we're inevitably, if they play well, going to have. And then as he continues to build a resume, if you're still going to move on from him, you're going to have people out there that are going to say, after the crappy quarterback play I saw for a lot of teams, I'll give you a number 2 and a number 4 for Jimmy next year. So all that in mind, but his number 1 priority is obviously to go help his team win and get rid of some of his demons. And the 49ers are capable because their offense, obviously, we know now, when they're healthy, gets to expand with the great addition of McCaffrey.
And what sort of expansion do you look for from this offense with McCaffrey, who can run it and he can catch it? Jeff Wilson Jr. no longer there, but Mitchell should be coming back, and you get Debo back in the fold. How would you, if you had the laminated play sheet, how would you capitalize on all these weapons?
I wouldn't need many on that laminated play sheet. It wouldn't have to be Andy Reid's play sheet size, because I do what they do. I'd mix with a lot of formations. I'm a big formation guy, and I've been studying a lot of. And fortunately, I get to study a lot of the all 22 tape now and get some access NFL film. I would do a lot what the 49ers used to do back in the day at Cowboys. People think when you have great weapons that you have to run 400 plays. The truth of the matter is you got to run about 15 passes and about 5 runs that make it look like it's 400 plays. So what they get to be exotic, and Kyle knows this because Kyle's done this in the past without having McCaffrey and Debo in the same huddle or on the same backfield or at the line of scrimmage in an empty set, however you want to use it. The biggest problem, the issue that's going to pose is, aside from great production, if you're a defensive coordinator, so you guys, I'll be the coordinator on offense, you guys be the defensive coordinator, you're putting in game tape now after what you saw McCaffrey do, and that was without Debo. Now you get this offense healthy. You got Kittle, Ayuk, McCaffrey, getting more depth back in the running game. Debo Samuel, a quarterback who's efficient and pretty accurate with the football, and getting your offensive line back. The key is, can you dominate the line of scrimmage, obviously, but for Jimmy and these weapons, how you guys going to defend me? Are you going to pressure Jimmy and hope that they, on man coverage, you can cover both of these guys in certain situations with linebackers or safeties, because corners are usually reserved for some outside guy depending on where the formation is. I'm big on moving guys from a normal position. I like to take my Z receiver and move him over to the slot of the slot, flip-flop X, stick the Z in the backfield, motion him out, because then it puts pressure on the defense to find him. And then you got to double somebody, and you can't double them all. So just the simple fact that preparing for the 49ers the way you can deploy the players is the first nightmare you'll give. Because even if you run one of those exotic formations or put them both in the backfield or motion one out and shift one, you know what coordinators do that are down the line 2 and 3 weeks? They look at it and say, they ran it twice. And you're like, dude, you're going to use up an hour and a half of your practice time over 2 plays? And they do. It's their obsessive, compulsive, neurotic. All of us football people are. So the way you can deploy and put pressure on defensive coordinators, it's a good thing to do. I would expect Kyle to continue to expand what he does pre-snap, not just what he does post-snap.
Sean Salisbury with us here, Willard and Dibbs at 95.7 The Game. I think we can all see the talent, the raw talent especially, that Justin Herbert has. But in your mind, going against this 49er defense is what kind of a prove-it scenario for Justin?
I don't know if Herbert, I mean, obviously he hadn't won a Super Bowl, all that. He is a great player. But guys, recently they're not attacking down the field much. They're doing a lot of, and I don't know if they're concerned about him. You know, he's been banged up, obviously. It shows how tough he is. That's not exactly the easiest injury to go out and play 100% at, because you're always waiting for that next hit to take place. But they're getting the ball out quick so he doesn't take hits. So I'm curious to see if the 49ers are going to squeeze that line of scrimmage and squeeze receivers to force him to hold it longer. Now, he can run. He's extremely smart. He's big and physical and can throw it a country mile with accuracy. But if he doesn't play well, they're not going to beat you. They're not. Now, the question is the coach also, meaning Brandon Staley, going to be 4th and 3 with a 6-point lead, and instead of kicking a field goal to go up 9, go for it and get stunned, and then the 49ers go and win. So you got to overcome some of him sometimes too, which is quite baffling to me. Listen, Herbert's a hell of a talent, and if you're, DeMeco Ryans preparing for this, you got to know that the guy can take over a game. He has got the ability to do what Allen and Mahomes and Lamar Jackson, what those cats do. He's got it. Now the question is how they deploy it. I'm actually disappointed. I thought they'd win. I had them win in the division. I'm disappointed, but this is the Charger way. This is what they do.
Yep.
They tease you, and then all of a sudden a guy gets hurt here, a guy gets hurt there, coach makes a stupid decision, quarterback makes a mistake, they don't run it or commit. You say, well, why aren't they committed to this? And they're not throwing it down the field. And before you know it, the Chargers are battling to try and be a wild card. So dangerous game because Herbert's so good. If you play defense and they protect the football, the 49ers will win this football game. But Herbert is a dangerous player, but the Chargers are who they are. They're going to screw it up at some point for you and give you an opportunity to capitalize on it, because that's who they are. But if Herbert's hot and going good and feels it, he will keep them in the game, and he can overcome any defense when he's feeling it.
For DeMeco Ryans, is it just as easy as not letting Justin Herbert beat you, to the extent that maybe you don't sell out as hard on the run because you know that Austin Eckler and company haven't run the ball very well this year?
Yeah, I think and they've been inconsistent, right, guys? Have you noticed that sometimes in a game they'll look like, okay, we're pretty good, and then you're like, for 2 weeks, like, are they still playing? Is Eckler hurt? And I see a lot of them. So, to me, it can't be Michael Jordan or let's go Steph Curry getting 50 on you, right? And then all of a sudden let a couple other guys get 30 and 32 on you. We're like, oh man, this receiver caught 9 balls. Eckler did explode and rush for a buck 10. Then you'd be in trouble. But yeah, to a point. Because Herbert will get some of his, but I don't think you need to put 8 in the box. I don't. I think that they're stout enough to put, depending on formations, if it's 5-man line, to put 5 down there or 6 and defend them, and to put pressure on to try and disrupt a little rhythm. And the danger if you're a pressure man team the whole time and change it up a little bit is that you get one-on-one routes, which home runs can happen. To me, to be honest with you, if you don't give up the chunk plays this week, the 49ers, and just catch and tackle, I don't think they're going to be able to sustain that throughout a game, meaning the Chargers. And so just limit what other teams have recently and giving up home run after home run. When they're going good, they're hitting big posts, run after the catch, meaning the Chargers. Yeah, to me, stop Herbert, you win the game, even if Eckler rushes for $105.
Sean, I said it last hour, and I know it's way too early to do this, but I'm looking at scenarios, and I dove into schedules in the second half in the NFC. Eagles, Cowboys, Giants, Minnesota Vikings, Seahawks, 49ers, and whoever wins the Drek in the South, let's call it the Bucs. Who on earth is going to crash that party? I'm putting those 7 in the playoffs now and saying that's it. Let's go.
Let me make sure I'm on the same one because I did it on my show this week. Let me just check it out real quick.
Cross-reference.
Here, I got Philadelphia, Dallas, the Giants.
Yep.
I got San Francisco and Seattle.
And Seattle,
yeah.
yep.
I got Minnesota and Tampa.
Yep. That's
Tampa,
the 7.
Yeah. So Tampa's going to emerge from the swamp in the South?
Yeah, well, you saw Atlanta last night. They showed that they're still Atlanta. Carolina's not winning the division. The New Orleans Saints are. What does Dickie V call him? Oh, he's a Dow Joneser, baby. Up in there. So you got them, and I don't know. And their defense isn't as remember the beginning of the year, guys. We thought, New Orleans is a Super Bowl defense. They're not real sure if their quarterback's coming or going. They don't know what they want to accomplish. And if Brady gets into the playoffs, guys, we know this.
Oh, boy.
If Tom sniffs January, it's like, oh, please tell me he won. Here we go. And they're not good enough right now. Matter of fact, of the 7 teams we just named, even though their records they're the worst of the 7 yet.
Yep.
I always know that Brady scares me if you're an opponent. Oh, Tom's in January. All of a sudden crap happened. And you know what really got me last week? The Rams had a chance to put it away and screwed the pooch, right?
Yep.
And then Brady goes down and gets another chance, and I'm thinking, Is this the moment that they reel off 7 in a row, right? Hey, they're back and Tom's happy and they're winning. But yeah, I got those 7 teams, and I would bet on them all the same way you are, that they would all make the playoffs. But yeah, that's it. And Tampa's going to win the division by default, but just don't take them for granted because we know how they are when they get on a roll. And that guy knows what the postseason look like, number 12 does. But that's my 7 teams as well. And quite frankly, I'm not backing off it. I don't see any way an 8th team's going to sneak in there. Green Bay, no shot. Arizona's not making it.
Yeah.
The Rams the Rams blow. So there you go. I mean, if it was, it'd be somebody else from the South that wins the division.
Yeah.
Other than that, I don't see anybody else making it.
And whoever wins the South gets to host a playoff game. What do you think about that? A team with a losing record? Yeah.
It's weak. It's weak. It's rewarding you for being bad, okay? Half the damn league gets in, and we're going to give you a playoff game because you're not very good. That's not for me, man. But you know what? I guess it makes it interesting. That's not the way I like to go about my business, but hey, at least and I don't know, is a 7 seed going to roll in and take care of their business? But the NFC, which I still feels weaker than the AFC, but I do think that 1 through 7 creates a bit of a problem for the AFC as well. I think the AFC is better at the top.
Yeah, I agree with that. Although that 1 through 7 in the NFC, even that's got questions because, as we said, one of them's going to be the South winner. And Sean, I'm still not sure what to do with the Giants. And while I'm not one of them, I hear a lot of people still doing that with Seattle, not believing that they're real.
Yeah, guys, think about this, and you make a good point. And it's another thing that I wanted that I went over. Okay, Jalen Hurts. Let's just go over how you felt about him this season, and if you're solidified on it all. Hurts has been great, but remember all the questions at the beginning of the year. They're the best team in the league. Are you sure Jalen Hurts can beat Mahomes in a duel?
No.
Are you sure he's going to beat Brady in the playoffs if Tampa gets in and wins, say, 9 games? You're not sure, are you? Go listen to the quarterbacks. Philadelphia with Hurts. Are you sold on Prescott to be a dominant Super Bowl winner?
No.
Nope.
Yeah.
Okay, Daniel Jones.
Yeah.
Nope.
He's been great. He may be the MVP, but look at Seattle. Are you sold that Geno Smith's winning a Super Bowl? How about Jimmy? We've seen the movie.
And
Kirk Cousins,
Cousins,
and Brady, the best quarterbacks on the worst team. Okay, when you were talking about best quarterback, meaning the guy that you would trust the most on any of the 7 teams in January is who? It's Tom Brady.
40-some-odd years old.
They're
and
45 years old.
And a losing record.
Right. Now, real quick, think about the AFC real quick, guys. Josh Allen, Zach Wilson takes back. If Miami makes the playoffs, Tua's had a great year. Mahomes. Herbert. Lamar Jackson,
Burrow.
If Burrow gets in, and then you move down to there's the weak link in that conference. So there's some really good ones at the top, but think about if you were going to win a Super Bowl and you thought, man, who are the quarterbacks I'm going to face?
Gosh.
This ain't a bad time to do it right now when you consider history of the position of the guys starting on the 7 teams in the NFC.
I hadn't thought of it that way. If Brady doesn't make the Super Bowl, whoever does from the NFC is going to be question marks, potentially someone who's never been there before.
Well, none of them have ever been there based on the 7 teams that you two are putting in there.
Jimmy.
Jimmy.
I was trying to forget that.
Think about it, guys. The team that we would consider the worst right now of the 7 has the quarterback that we would consider the guy that you think is going to be the best pressure guy in the playoffs on the worst team. It's a weird year, fellas. It is a weird year, so stay tuned. I like the 49ers this week, though.
Us too. Sean, great stuff as always. Thank you so much.
Look at us. We're digging so deep, man. We're ready to be capologists and all that stuff. I like it.
Look at it.
I'll see you guys in the draft room when the season's over. I can't wait.
I've never been in a war room. I can't wait.
My 7-round mock done, Sean. We can compare our mocks.
I don't want any part of that. You're the king there. I'm staying away from that. I talk about where they go after. You can tell me where they're going before. I don't want any part of you guys' brilliant minds. No thanks.
Hey, Sean.
Too good for me.
Sean, give a high five to Dusty Baker for us, okay?
Yeah, man. Well, I'm so proud of him. I sure will, guys. I appreciate it. Have a good one.
All right, you too. There goes Sean.